Hi guys, welcome to my third video in this sort of series. We're covering Motown and soul, rhythm and blues guitar tracks. The one we're going to do today is R.E.S.P.E.C.T by Aretha Franklin. Believe was recorded around 1967, the original recording, written by Otis Redding, of course. So I'm going to pretty much cover the general tracks that you'll hear on the video, on the song itself, sorry, and how we sort of get around the parts on guitar. And I'm guessing it's pretty close to how it was recorded without, knowing exactly how it was done. But there's certain sounds and chords that are very synonymous with this song, and we'll talk about those. But we're in the key of C, so the song. It's for the most part it's in the key of C. There is it modulates to a different key during the solo, the saxophone solo in the song, which we'll talk about. Yeah, again, it's just one of those kind of really great sort of rhythm tracks that you can learn. And really, the whole thing with this style of guitar, as I've said all along, is really the discipline of playing pretty much on the 2 and 4. In this song, it's not so apparent. If you listen closely, you'll often hear playing on, on all the beats, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's a great tool you can use to drive the song a little bit more. So if you want to differentiate between, say, the verse and the chorus of a song, you can always drive the song more with your rhythm when you're playing on each beat instead of the 2 and the 4. And I'll give you an example of that as we go along. So the song starts off. There's a line there. There's a guitar line, and there's chords with that as well. So the guitar line is this at the beginning. It's okay, they're the two lines, and the first one is played over the C7 chord, and then the second one is over kind of like an F9 type chord. So the predominant chords in the song are dominant chords. They're like either a dominant 7 or ninth type chords. Hence, how you get that kind of, it's a certain sound. It's a certain, they're not major chords. They are sort of more dominant type chords. So the line is a G. The first line is a G to an A, G, and then to A. The A is then bent a half step or 1 fret up to B flat. So you're going to be going, and you kind of hold it there because that B flat is, of course, the flat 7 of the C7 chord. All right, and it works great over. It's effectively a chord tone. So you kind of hold it there because it's gonna fit in nicely with that C7 chord that's underneath it. The second line is C to D, and then from D to D sharp. So again, that C is off. If you're working over the F9 chord, the C, of course, is the 5 of that chord. So you're effectively going 5, 6, and then you're bending up to the flat 7 of that chord. Hence why it works so well within the chords. You're effectively playing chord tones over the chord. So it's all going to fit in really, really nice. So I'm bending that D up to the D sharp there to highlight the flat 7 of that F9 chord. So that's basically the lines at the beginning of the song, and to my knowledge there aren't really too many other lines at all in the song from a guitar point of view. The rest of it is just kind of rhythm tracks. So onto the rhythm of the song. Again, we're emphasizing that 2 and 4 for the most part in this song. So the song has the C7 at the beginning, and it also has the F9. All right, so that C7 comes from that root 6 dominant C7 chord shape, except we're really only going to play the top 3 or 4 strings at the most. And they being from the first string, we're playing the C, the G, the E, and the B flat. Okay, so you'll notice that B flat is kind of, it's almost sort of when you're not used to it, it's almost like a jarring kind of a sound. It's there for a reason. It gives you that sense of tension, I guess, in the chord. When you hear those 7th chords, there should be some level of tension in those chords. Okay, so that's the voicing for the C7. And then the F9, which is, I guess you would consider it the 4 chord in this key. So the F9, I'm sure some of you would know as being that, that kind of shape. And that the full F9 is C from the first string. It's a C, G, which is the 9th itself. You have the E flat on the 3rd string, which is the flat 7. You have the A on the 4th string, which is the 3rd degree of F. And then you have the root note on the 5th string. You generally wouldn't play that low E in this chord unless you want to substitute the F for the low C. When you sort of go for that kind of sound, you can use that. For these kinds of tunes and this kind of genre, you're not really going to be playing the 5th or the 6th strings much at all. Okay, so for this F9 chord, we are effectively going to be playing just the top 4 strings. So what you're doing is you're changing from C7, which is the one we talked about earlier, off those 4 strings, to the F9. And you can hear when I play that, although they are 2 distinct chords, they kind of sound very, they're close together in the way they're voiced. So that's why they work so well. Okay, so that's the 4 chord. The other chord throughout the verse, I think, and the chorus as well, is the G9. Okay, so which would be considered the 5 chord of this key. That's exactly like the F9 we played before, but it's 2 frets up. All right, so it's those notes. So it's going to be from the first string, the full chord is going to be a D, A, F. So the D is the 5, the A is the 9th of the chord. Then you have the F, which is the flat 7. You got to have that flat 7 in those 9th chords, the dominant note. And then you have the A. So I beg your pardon, it's a B, not an A. It's a B, it's the 3rd. And then you have the G, the root note. So it's that 9th chord that is, it's very prevalent throughout sort of funk and rhythm and blues sort of sounds. Okay, so we're not going to play the full chord. We're going to play just, again, the top 3 or 4 strings at the most. So we're just going to sort of do that. So they're the 3, I guess, main chords of the song. So the intro, when you have those lines, is going to be so it's just C and F over those lines. Then when she comes in with the vocal, it's a G, G9. What you want, F. Know that I got it, G. All you need, you know that I want it. Respect. So now that comes into the chorus there, which is going to the C, which is then, so the chords here are going to go just a little bit, C, F, just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Then back to the verse, G, F. Someone did upstrokes now, right? Probably gonna sound better, right? bit, just a little bit, C, just a little bit, F, just a little bit. So they're the chords for the most part in the verse and the chorus. There's a saxophone solo in the song, which I guess you would consider the bridge section of the song. So this is quite interesting, the way that they've written this and put it in, because they've gone to a completely different key here. So you're effectively playing an F sharp minor 7 into a B, which is kind of like a 2/5 in the key of E. So they've gone up from key of C up to the key of E for just this section of the song. And again, you're sort of playing that 2 and 4. So the chords are an F sharp minor 7, which is kind of that chord, that root 5 sort of bar chord from there. But again, you're not going to be playing the full chord for this. You're kind of only going to be sort of working with the top three or 4 notes only. So it's basically the same chord, except what I would normally do is just drop down your first finger and just bar the 3 strings there at the 9th fret. Okay. So, and again you go, you've got that sort of going on, and then it goes to a B chord. To my ears, it's just a straight B major that I can hear. So that B is from that root 6 chord, the bar chord. But again, as I always keep saying, we're not going to play all 6 strings. We're going to keep it nice and short and sort of stabby kind of sound. So we go, instead of doing that, we're going to make that chord smaller and just sort of play it like that's a very sort of common way you would see a guitar player playing any kind of a major chord. It would be using those kinds of notes. So it's basically just a B, an F sharp. So root note, the B, F sharp is the 5, the E flat or the D sharp, I guess you would say in B, it's the 3rd, and then you've got the B there, the root note again. So it's just going to be. Oops. So that's the B there. So the solo itself is just those 2 chords. So it's going to go. And I think it does it again. F sharp. And then it does an interesting thing at the end of the solo, which leads us back into the song. It brings us to the G9 again there. So it's a nice little, actually, when you hear that, the F sharp minor 7, it moves just up a semitone up to the G9, which sort of it brings in some tension, I would say, in the song, arguably, right? So, and that brings you back, I think she does another verse and chorus there as well. So there's the G and the F9 chords in that verse section, and then it sort of takes the song, sort of goes out from there. I think it's just the chorus out, which is that that C7. Upstrokes again. All right, so it does that. And then it's got like a stop, I guess you might call it like a stop chorus, some people might refer it, where it goes, R.E.S.P.E.C.T, turning me to me, R.E.S.P.E.C.T, so that there is just they're going from the C to the F chords there. R.E.S.P.E.C.T. So when you go to the F chord, make sure you hit that C again. It's kind of an important, I guess it's a syncopated part in the song itself. Kind of adds a nice little, just nice little rhythm part, I guess, where it goes R.E.S.P.E.C.T. And when you go back, right, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So you're kind of playing those little short stabs on the 4 and, just to give it that forward kind of motion, I guess, in the changes. So that's kind of most of the song, guys. One thing I did want to point out in this lesson is, okay, this is in the key of C, and if you're doing it, you know, with a band, and you know you've got a female singer who can hit the high notes, you know, in that key, fantastic, right? That's going to be great. More often than not, however, when I've done this, it's been in the key of A, like A7, so you know D9, E9, etc. That's more, I guess, more certainly my experience where I've played the song in that key of A. More often than not, you might find yourself playing this song in the key of A, if the singer can't quite reach the higher notes there. And that brings us into an interesting little sort of area, because you can get some interesting chord sounds when you are playing in that slightly lower key. So instead of playing the A7, D9 there, which is effectively 3 frets down from where we did it originally, you can play this little, it's like an A13 chord, and you often hear these voicings in jazz. They're very much sort of played in jazz, rhythm and blues, blues itself. There's a lot of blues music that you'll hear these kinds of voicings, and they're pretty cool voicings. You'd hear something like to that 9th chord, right? And then that sort of thing. So it's more of a, I guess, more of a mellow kind of tone, but that can sound really, really great. So you can play this A13 chord, which is going to just be the inside 4 strings. It'll be the G, the D sharp, the F sharp, and the A. So it makes it an A13 chord, all right? So you've got the G, which is the flat 7 on the bottom. You've got the C sharp, which is the third, the major third of A. You've got the F sharp there, which in this scenario will be considered the 13. That's the 13 there. And then you've got the A itself on the top, on that B string, on the 2nd string. So you've got that chord. That could be considered your 1 chord of the song, the A. And then it goes to a D9, which is this voicing here. I'll just try to show it to you. And again, it's the inside 4 strings. It's going to be F sharp, C, E, and A. A's on the 2nd string there. That's your D9, all right? And when you want to go to the E9 chord, the 5 chord, it would be this shape. So it's exactly the same shape as before, but up 2 frets. Okay, that's the E9 chord. So if you hear the conventional E9, all right, that's the voicing there. So it kind of sounds similar, but to me, it's got definitely a different characteristic to the voicing itself. So this E9 has again, the inside 4 strings. It's going to be G sharp, D, F sharp, and B. They're the notes in that one there. Okay, guys, so you can always use those chords if you are playing it in a lower key. All right, so I hope that helps with the song and the breakdown of the song itself and the chords and the lines that are used throughout it. Just one last thing, actually, I should probably mention, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the clip. When you're playing the chords, you can play on the 2 and the 4. That's cool. You can also drive it a bit by playing it on every single beat. Right? You could play that with that kind of syncopation as well. You might consider that for maybe like a chorus of the song and keep the 2 and the 4 in the verses, just to give you that break up and I guess the the difference in the approach. That it'll drive more obviously when you play on every single beat. So if you want to drive that chorus a bit more, you can definitely play it like that. And I'll probably suggest down strums with that. Okay, guys, it just tends to sort of work a little bit better. So I hope that helps. That's the breakdown of the song. Thanks for watching and listening. Please subscribe if you like this content and you think it's helpful to what you want to do and helps you along your journey with songs. I'm definitely going to be posting more songs very, very soon. I'm hoping to put regular content out there. Hit that subscribe button, guys, and the notification bell, so when new videos do come up, you'll be the first to see them. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time around. See you guys.